In this video, I'll show you how to build a fully working blackjack game on an ESP32 with 240 by 240 ST7789 display. We'll also connect 6 buttons to control the game: deal, hit, stand, double, bet up and bet down. And this is the wiring diagram where you can look how to connect it all. Here's the ESP32, and I've only included the pins that you will need to connect, so there would be obviously more pins, but I didn't draw them because we don't need them in this project. And here's the screen, and just following these lines you can connect. So DC on the screen goes to digital pin 2 on the ESP. And make sure all of the buttons are connected to a common ground with the ESP and the screen, so the ground needs to be connected to all of the buttons on one side, and then go to the ESP, and then the other side of the buttons will go to their own signal pin or digital pin on the ESP. This is the CAD model. This is how it's supposed to look like when we are done making it. And there's an ESP32 inside, and then obviously the 6 buttons that you use to play and a screen. And I will have this and then the code and the wiring diagram listed on the description or linked in the description, so you can go there and find this and 3D print it for yourself, or you can obviously make your own if you want. But yeah, let's go and check what parts we need to make this ESP game. These are the parts that you will need for the ESP Blackjack game. 6 of these tiny push buttons or micro switches. Of course, an ESP32. This is optional, but hot melt inserts, and also optional but suggested or recommended heat shrink tubing. Then you'll need this PCB board and a screen. There's the specs, and then also some wires. I used these breadboard wires. You'll also need some solder, a soldering iron, and some few other normal tools. So let's get to building. And this is my prototype, so it's already been soldered, but I will take it apart and do it again, or I will solder the buttons again, but I will leave the screen attached. But yeah, this is, so you will follow the wiring diagram and just connect. If you want, you can use this side also, but I didn't want to do that because then when you get solder on these, you can't put the ESP to a breadboard so easily. So I desoldered the old button board, so we will make it like this, but it has one button less because the game, I couldn't get the split function to work on the game, so the split button will be deleted. The first thing you'll need to do is to cut this, or you cut your circuit board to size. So I will cut this to size and I'll put the dimensions on the screen now. Yeah, and one last thing, how you cut this is like this, and then score with the knife on the center of the holes. and then when you have scored it, so I have scored this one, what you can do is put pliers on there and then just bend it, and it will break cleanly on the score line. So just one more cut and this will be ready. So now you can see when I hold it, it doesn't go down because of the slots on the sides. And here you can see it goes over just a little bit on both sides. Next, we need to place the switches on here. You can place them however you like. I like to do it so that the deal button is here or here, whichever side you want. Maybe this time I'll put it on the right side. So here, and then the next one is the stand button, hit button, double down button, and then up and down bet button. So when you press the button, these ones or these two will connect, and these are already connected. So don't connect the ground to this one and then the signal to this one, because it will be always on. So you need to make sure that you get the ground on this one or this one, and then the signal on this one or this one. Now you can see that I rotated the buttons 90 degrees, so the legs are this way, and on the old one they were on the outside. So now you can see it's a lot cleaner looking too. So I will wire up the ground and then show you again. Here you can see I connected all of the grounds. Like I said, my soldering iron is dog shit, so it looks pretty bad. But they shouldn't be touching this side, at least, now that I changed the orientation of the switches. So next I will solder all of the signal wires and then again show it to you so you can see how that looks. Now I have all of the buttons wired, and the screen obviously was already, but if you are going to do this, I think you can figure out how to solder wires and read the wiring diagram. Now this is done, and next we'll test it to see if it works. Screen turns on. It's kind of hard to get them in the same frame, but this button should deal me cards. Yes. And let's test if the bet up and down buttons work. So will the bet go up?
We're experiencing technical difficulties.
Okay, now the bet up and down buttons work. I didn't connect the buttons to the ground, so that's why they didn't work. But now you can see when I press, the bet goes up and down. Okay, so I got everything inside. Try not to break any wires, and before you put it together, test that it works, so that, because there's a high risk of cutting a wire or breaking the solder joint in there. But I tested it and it works. So now we can put the screen cover on here and then get the M2 screws, if I have them here, and then just screw them on. And I have the hot melt inserts to this I will get them and put a few on. I won't put all of them. I will put 2 on each side so that at least we can test if the covers go on. But there's a little lip on the top side here. So you need to put that facing down. It's a lot harder to see on these smaller ones. And it's also a lot harder to get them to stay in the hole.
Anyway, a couple of thousand years later.
Now I got it. And then my soldering tip is gone, so I will use the side of the soldering iron, but if you have a clean tip,
What?
it should be pointy so you can put it inside. But I don't have that right now, so I will use the side of the soldering iron. Like that. Let's take the plates and obviously put the one with the USB hole on the USB side. But and now it's done. So you can see there's a tiny little gap there because of the button board being too long, but when you're assembling this you can just take sandpaper and sand carefully a little bit off at a time and then check. So let's see if it still works. So dealer's up card is a 2 and we've got 18, so obviously we'll stand and it's a push. Next hand 13 against the 10, we have to hit that. 17 will stand and dealer got 18, and that's it for the hardware part. And now I will show you the code on the computer. So here's the code, and you'll need just a couple of libraries to make this code work. First one is this tft_e SPI library, and you can find it on the library manager just by searching this and then installing this by Bodmer. And then the other one is this SPI, which is already included with Arduino IDE, so you don't have to install it from anywhere. And then if you haven't already used ESP32 boards on your Arduino IDE, you also need to install ESP32 board package so that you can find the ESP ports here. Otherwise, it will only be Arduino boards. The TFT SPI library already includes everything we need for the text, colors, and graphics, but you need to set it up so that it will work. So I will show you that next. So when you've downloaded the library, you should go to your libraries folder on your computer. So it will probably be in the C drive, then users, then your user, and then documents, and Arduino, and libraries. And when you open the libraries folder, you'll see your libraries. Then you will open this, and in here you will go to the user setup, select. So open this. So once you've opened the user setup, select, go here, and then put this line in here. So just put that down and then, or write that down and then write it in this folder in here. And then make sure everything else is commented out. So when you open it, this will be like this. So put the two lines in front of it. So it will be commented out. And only this will be commented or uncommented. So this will be the only thing uncommented. So everything else. This is the driver. So it will only accept one. So if you have something else like this, it won't work. So make sure everything else is commented out and only this is commented. And then copy this. So save this. And then you go to user setups and then create a new text file. Put the name that you copied from the previous file or included in the previous file. Put that in the name and then open that as well and then put this inside it. Nothing else but this. Okay, so now that we're back in the code, make sure you have the right board selected, whatever board you have. And then press down the boot button, obviously connect the ESP to your computer, press down the boot button if you have one, and then hit upload. And it should upload. And the game should start. So that's it. Thanks for watching and hope you enjoy this blackjack game. Like and subscribe.